names we sing in sleep and anger. Like fishermen at dusk, the soldiers return from war with stories slumped over their shoulders, their fingers firm at the knot, the netting thick and tangled with the names of the dead. None could explain how the flood of life all around them escaped like water from between cupped hands. How the bodies of men they loved began to crust the earth like salt. How destruction danced, slapdash, and unashamed everywhere, and still they survived. When I came home from college, proud, my educated mouth agape, a tackle box of words slick and glossy, and I saw the names of my friends, the young men I fought with, learned to drink with, and left behind. Little Rock, Pumpkin, Ulysses, Junebug, a ghoster. Names spray painted throughout our neighborhood in memoriam. I couldn't understand how a God could make one life possible and strip the world clean of so many. Or how, like high watermarks, the dead remind the living of the coming of storms. Burlesque. Watch the fire undressing, how flame fingers each button, rolls back his collar, unzips him without sweet talk or mystery. See how the skin begins to gather at his ankles, how it slips into the embers, how it shimmers beneath him, unshapen, iridescent as candlelight on a dark negligee. Come, look at him, at all his goods, how his whole body becomes song, an aria of light, a song's kaleidoscope. Listen as he lets loose an opus, night's national anthem, the tune you can't name but can't stop humming. There, he burns as brilliant as a blue note. Most of this book is in response to a series of race riots that occurred during the summer of 1919. I'll just read one more and then I'll read some of my newer work. This poem is based on a murder that occurred on July 27th during the summer of 1919. A boy, Eugene Williams, who was 17, was found dead at the 26th Street beach. He was apparently drowned. He apparently drowned after being struck in the head by a blunt object. Chicago citizen testifies in his defense. What might seem like dumb luck isn't. It's not happenstance or being in the wrong place at the right time. It's about learning to see a certain point in the air and wanting to touch it with a stone. What I know about religion, I know what the sky calls from your hand you deliver. I know the angle of ascent, the pitch and point of the line, and I'm not ashamed. The fate of the rock, like that of the boy, falls somewhere between gravity and God. I love history. Like, I get really excited about history, and not, like I'm just kind of combing through history books, but I'm almost interested in a kind of, like, trying to express through my poems the way history makes me feel, like a kind of, lyric response, to it. Not necessarily thinking about, dates and names, but just how horrible, so many aspects of our history, have been, and what it means to internalize that. So I was doing all this work on racial violence, and I decided, okay, I should read some jokes. Naturally I started reading, things about blackface, minstrelsy, and all these like jokes that I don't get. Like, if you look back at that period, like, I'm not sure what was funny about any of that, but like, obviously it was popular. I mean, it's something that shaped the way we understand, humor, comedy, and really the bulk of the 20th century. So some of these poems respond to that. Encore. Take the architecture of the wrist, how the hands flip, hinged and bony as a blur of wing, pulling each egret across the slow drag of the lake. Or the way the whole flock, given the hound dog's suffragio and the refrain of some pistol. How each tendon, how every muscle of the limb seems to reach some agreement and move. Even in the box seats and the balcony, the taste of that song tangle like moss about my Adam's apple. And I see them beginning to stand and applaud. And if I could spoon out every eye, or fasten their tongues like red scarves around a flagpole. Think, come morning, the both of us, rich men. So I wait for them to release their bellies, to rest their elbows, to stop slapping their knees. I adjust my top hat, smooth my hands against my breast and tail. I step center stage. I steady, and bow. The front matter. Pity the ringdove, the silver-tongued coxcomb, throb and pulse, the hurly-burly of the hurdy-gurdy man. Pity the pomp, all the prunes and prisms, that miscellany of light located beneath your lips and gums. It's all that cockeyed peacockery, the dumb show, high-flown, guffaw, and that garbled moonlight. Now, I got the big talk. I'll play the heavy. Watch me in my cap and bells, my jingle. In a nutshell, all patter and ballyhoo aside, I'm aping the sun. I am the Jack Pudding. I reckon to out-Herod and trademark my move. This next poem is a revision of a joke, kind of out of the vaudeville era. I mean, a lot of these jokes were absurd. They're kind of conundrums. They didn't make sense. One was like this idea of, he was his own grandfather, right? It kind of puts the audience in this position to figure out how confusing that would be. Like, how is that possible? So this is another conundrum. He swallowed an egg. Mr. Cleveland, seems like I got the shell nestled up just above my abdomen. Damnedest thing the shopkeepers touch. What you think bring a man into the inspiration to get all cat-like like that? Was whole under the custody of my tongue, then before I know, gone. Say the moon's nothing but blown glass, and God just gone and hid the straw. Say the heavens, just like my hands, after I've bled the hog good and clean. and stars like barley fanned out across the coop. Here's my predicament, cousin. If I move, the egg will get the lion's teeth. If still, then come all that waiting until that Shanghai rooster begins, until he starts to itch for air. This next poem has an epigraph from one of the stars of the vaudeville era, Burt Williams, and it's self-explanatory just in terms of how it works. The man with a real sense of humor is the man who can put himself in the spectator's place and laugh at his own misfortune. Nobody. Bet you showed him, Bert. I mean, got their goat good the way they pulled that fist of 50s from your billfold and bought the whole bar around. Trace of burnt cork coloring the edge of your collar, and your smile sliced wide as a melon's quarter moon. I see their faces, outcropped and looming in the darkness. Cigar smoke cross-hatching the air, and shadows cluster, all leaning in corners like small congregations of drunks. Light from Lafayette's marquee, Abyssinia, and the red lettering of your name wasn't enough to stop the barkeep's ribbing. Mr. Nobody, you sang. Oh, death, where is thy sting? And you, cakewalking with your eyes, pantomiming something like laughter. Yeah, many of the, I love reading sheet music from this period because, you know, when you get the titles for some of these shows, like, you can't believe it. Like, it's just like the shock value alone that'll kind of freak you out. And then if you see some of the artwork, just what it meant to promote these shows, I mean, it's ridiculous and offensive at the same time. So I have a sick, twisted sense of humor. So, you know, I apologize if you're sensitive individuals. So the title of this next poem comes from one of the most popular shows of that period. Two Real Coons. Act 1. Dare say there was little difference than playing the Moor. A second skin, you thought, an accent. Your wife sitting at the stage door dressed in ermine, her hair in some fashionable torrent, and your face, 3 ovals, glazed, spinning. But it helps to think of the little tramp, purblind and choking on coal dust, knapsack dangling like a wasp nest at the end of a stick. Next stop, Cairo, smell of black-eyed Susan, train tracks stretched out like some iron vertebrae. Next stop, Cedar Rapids, Chattanooga, all teeth and bloody gums. Lookout Mountain, look out into the crowd, the night, and your wall-eyed audience, and try to keep your nerve.